Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So guys, I said today I would have a very special show, something that I'm not used to doing. I happened to secure an interview with Unstoppable Domains founder and head of business development, Bradley Cam. As you guys know, Unstoppable Domains is part of the PayID coalition. And so if you still do not have an Unstoppable domain, you can get one. I do have an affiliate link in the description of this video. You can use it if you want. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. Brad had some great things to say about the future of domains, putting them on the blockchain. Why do we even need this? The PayID coalition with Ripple, the future of the internet, and how the decentralized nature of something that we could probably call an Internet 2.0 will be a game changer in the coming years. So without further ado, you're going to see my beautiful mug as well on this episode. Here's my interview with Bradley Cam. Oh yeah, there was another thing. There was some big news that Brad wanted to mention right at the end, so stay tuned right to the end. These guys are on fire. So now I've got Brad Cam here from Unstoppable Domains. We're going to talk a little bit about domains on the blockchain. How's it going, Brad?
It's going great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show. So what is a domain on the blockchain and how do they differ from a regular .com?
Sure. So a domain on the blockchain is one that is part of a smart contract. It is not part of the traditional DNS system. So with a traditional DNS system, traditional domain name, you have that stored by a company like GoDaddy, one of the registrars. They store it for you. They can move it around. They can take it away from you. A blockchain domain is stored by you in your cryptocurrency wallet. No one can move it around. No one can take it away from you. The only person who can move it around or do something with it is you, and you use your private key in order to do it. So you're in control as opposed to a third-party company. And then when somebody wants to go and find your website, all they have to do is go and look up the blockchain instead of looking up DNS servers. And so DNS servers are controlled by this small group of people. It's essentially, this very centralized system. The blockchain is an open public network that anybody can go and pull records from. So it is a completely different structure to how the internet works.
Cool. And so what are the benefits of having a domain on the blockchain versus the traditional way of doing it?
So the biggest difference is you have a website that only you can put up or take down. And, if you're in US or you're somewhere else that has good free speech protections, this may actually not seem like a huge deal to you. But if you're in most places in the world, this is a really big deal where domains get taken away from people all the time. Websites get taken down all the time. There's rules and laws that prevent people from being able to publish like they want. There's this crazy law in Turkey that says that you're not allowed to have the words gay or naked on any of your websites because that's a violation of the rules. There have been cases where .ly domains were taken away because the Libyan government objected to the content, thought that it was morally inappropriate. So things like porn.
Sure.
So there's all kinds of cases where this happens all over the world. And it's something that, we don't always think about, but it changes the behavior. It changes the way that people interact with the internet. It changes what they can do.
Interesting. So why a .crypto? I mean, .crypto is one of these domains that you offer. Do you see this? Do you see like the .crypto, becoming real big compared to a .com or a .net, for example, something we're more familiar with?
Yeah, .crypto is the .com of the future. It is a domain name system that can do things that the regular domain name systems like .com just can't do. You can build a censorship-resistant website. A .com domain can't do that. You can receive money. You can receive Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ripple directly to your domain name. It has payments baked in. That's not something that a regular domain name can do. It's like it has a superpower over the traditional domain name systems. And, we think that over time, the traditional internet infrastructure is going to switch over to this too, because, decentralized open source is it's better, safer, more secure, better for the user.
And your company does something also, you guys do something called a decentralized blog. How does that work?
So it starts out with, there's like these three big things that you need to have a functioning internet. You need payments, you need a way to publish content, and you need communication channels. So you need all three of these things. We started with the domain names, and now we're offering more and more tools that enable you to use those three features easier and better. So one of the things that we launched recently was a very simple blog tool. So I've got brad.crypto right now. I've got my blog up there. It's not the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but it works. And it works right now. And I'm the only one who can put it up or take it down. So I'm able to say what I want, and no one can stop me. And that's the big idea. So right now we're starting out with really simple profile pages and blogs, but there's no reason why you can't start building more and more complicated applications. And around the world, if you can just imagine that right now, if you want to launch a business, launch an online business, you need to get permission from your domain registrar, from your website hosting company, from your payment processor, maybe from Slack or whatever other messaging channel you're using. All of that stuff goes away with the decentralized web. You can just launch. You don't have to ask anyone's permission.
I like that. I like that. It's giving more. I suppose it would be giving more of a voice to more people around the world. Do you think more internet-driven technology will be moving to the blockchain in the future?
Definitely. I think that what we've seen over the past 20 years, we've seen this kind of hope for the internet. In the 1990s, I think everybody was very hopeful. They thought that, everything was going to work peer-to-peer and the user was going to be in control. And then we fast forward to now and, Facebook's in control. YouTube's in control. We have to ask permission from these domain registrars, and the banking system controls, the current banks control everything, the way that all the payment stuff works on the internet. So it didn't live up to its promise. It wasn't what I think a lot of the early people who were working on the internet actually thought they were making. They didn't intend for it to wind up in the hands of all these companies. And part of the problem is that the tech wasn't able at the time to be able to solve everything with peer-to-peer systems. Blockchain technology allows us to solve those problems with peer-to-peer systems that were not able to be solved 20 years ago. And so what happened is we wound up having to rely on centralized solutions because we didn't have an alternative. Now we have an alternative, and it works great, and it works live in production right now. And now the only step is to just make it easier to use. Now we're in this, like, I'm going to sound really old to your audience right now, but when I started using the internet, I was using something called GeoCities to build websites.
Yeah, I remember GeoCities.
See, there we go. And everybody who was around for that era, had this experience, and it was exhilarating because you could launch your own website, but at the same time, it was so hard to use. And at the end, when you actually launched it, your website was so ugly. You could have one graphic, that would do something on the page, and that's the best you could do. And we're closer to that phase for the decentralized web, where the tooling isn't there, but the infrastructure works. So we can say definitively, like, this can work. This can replace the current internet. This can be the backbone of a free and open world where we're going to be able to transact like we want. We're going to be able to publish like we want, but we need to make it easier. That's what the decentralized blog announcement was about. That's what all the stuff that we're rolling out over the next few years actually is about. It's about making it easier.
So, I mean, we're talking about GeoCities, and that was like the late 90s. So, probably, more than 20 years ago now. Do you think that this technology will take another 20 years to get to where we need it to be, or do you think it'll happen a lot sooner?
Well, I think there's some benefits because, this tech, the decentralized web gets the benefit of the existing web. We get to look back and see what they did right, and then we can copy and port and connect in. So we have the benefit of that. We also have the benefit of using the internet to distribute it. So we can tell people about it using the Web 2.0 tools. So that's a benefit. But I also think that the power structure that we're reshaping might actually be bigger. So I think the long-term answer is, yeah, it probably is, 20 years, before this stuff becomes, ubiquitous. But we're going to see benefits, applications, people switching over before that. It's just, when are we going to see the gigantic old school companies migrating? That's probably 20 years away.
Right. So there's a lot of people that watch my channel that are interested in Ripple and the cryptocurrency XRP. You guys just recently joined a partnership with the PayID coalition, which is run by Ripple. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we were excited about what PayID is doing because they have the potential, the Ripple community in general has the potential to be able to bring in traditional banking partners. And what we've been focusing on so far is just on the cryptocurrency payment side of things. And what the Ripple Coalition is bringing to the table are actual banks too. So we imagined a future where I've got my domain name, and you could send me crypto. You could also send me a wire. You could attach any kind of traditional payment information to that domain. So it all just works together. And for things like banking information, you need to trust somebody anyway. And the way that the PayID system works is you have a company that you trust. They spin up servers, they encrypt, and they store your information for you. And then you're able to go and use that in apps. That's different than the way that a blockchain domain works, but it's really, really powerful for this traditional payment use case. So that's the reason why we joined the coalition. That's the reason why we've been excited about it.
So what exactly is a PayID? I know there are some people probably watching right now that already know what it is, but I just want to ask you in your words, what is a PayID exactly, and why do you think it'll be an important thing to have in the future?
So I'm not the best person to answer this question, but I'm going to give it a try. Where the idea is that a PayID is a way to mask your payment information so that you can just have something that's simple and easy to share, easy to communicate. I can text it to you or type it to you. And the way that it works is that a company that you trust spins up servers and stores this information for you. And that's what the coalition is doing, where there's a bunch of partners that are going to be offering this service. So the reason why I think it's going to be important is because you've got all of this payment information that needs to be secure. Like, you don't want to just advertise your bank account and routing information everywhere. That's not secure. So then, but that information needs to come from somewhere, a bank or your bank or some other provider that has this information. So you need somebody to trust to store that information for you in a safe way so that you can use it in apps. And that's what PayID provides.
So I set up an unstoppable domain, and you guys are going to be able to integrate the PayID. How would I go about doing that?
So this is the part that is going to be when you see it, it's going to actually be shockingly simple. So the way it works is I've got my domain name. My domain name is on the blockchain, and then I just have these text records. So if you were to go look at the blockchain, I've got brad.crypto, and then I just have these text fields. One says BTC equals this. Another one says XRP equals this. Another one says PayID equals this. And all they are these text fields. And so when I'm an app and I go and you go in and type brad.crypto to pay me, it will go and look up my PayID if that's what it's looking for. It'll look up my Bitcoin address if that's what it's looking for. It'll look up my XRP address if that's what it's looking for. So it's really just a way for you to be able to say 100% definitively to the world, hey, this is my information. I'm the only person that can attest this information signing with my private key. So you know 100% me, the owner of this domain name. You may not know who I am, but you know that the owner of this domain name is the one who attached this PayID, this XRP address, this Bitcoin address, et cetera, this website, et cetera. And that's where the security comes from. You have to have that specific private key in order to be able to add or remove information.
Cool. So where do you think, I'm just going to ask you a question overall with regards to cryptocurrency, because I know it's a hot topic. Where do you think we are with crypto adoption right now in the grand scheme of things?
I mean, I think we're early on. I think that what we've seen so far is we've seen early use cases for, peer-to-peer payments. We've started to see, some, a lot of international payments happening, especially, country to country, where you've got two countries that don't have banking systems that cooperate with each other. But that's really just, we're really, really early days. Like, we're just now starting to see things that make it easier, like human readable names and stable coins and technology to allow you to send payments privately. I think those are the types of things that are necessary ingredients before people are really gonna switch, because Venmo works pretty good, at least here. It's free, it has a human readable name, payments are private, So it has a lot of the things that we need. So it means that crypto payments need to be that plus plus something. They need to be that times 10. They need to be that plus no one can shut me down. Plus it interoperates with everywhere in the world. Plus plus plus. So crypto payments still have some work to do in terms of the user experience. The tech works great. That's not the problem. You can use it. It's just it's not built into the apps in the way that the apps that we use every day in the way that we would need to in order for everyone to really switch. And the weird thing about payments in general, I think, is like if you're a business, you're not going to force your users to use a payment system. Your users force you. That's the
Right.
way it works with credit cards. Businesses weren't jumping up and down saying, "Hey, I would love to give 3% to banks.
Of
Please
course.
use this credit card." They were saying, "Hey, customers want this. I can't turn them away because I want to get paid." And I think that's when crypto payments are going to take over, is when users say, "Hey, I don't want to use this old system. I want to use this new thing." And that's going to be the driver. So it just means that it just needs to be a much better experience for users.
And so, what do you think about XRP? Do you think it'll be part of an important infrastructure when people use their pay IDs for transactions?
So I think the two are a little bit separated. They don't necessarily rely on each other. So the two I think could succeed independently, or could also succeed together. That's kind of I think that's kind of the interesting thing about PayID in general. In terms of XRP, yeah, I think it has an important role. I think it's established itself as number three currency in the number three cryptocurrency in the world. I think that's an important place in the infrastructure. And the way that we see this, and I know this is kind of I don't know, this is kind of weird in the crypto world, but we are very we believe there's going to be a lot of different protocols that people use for this stuff. We think there's going to be several currencies that are going to be extremely popular and used on a regular basis. We don't actually think that it's going to be any one, and that's the reason why we designed our system to support any number of currencies, of which the most popular are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple.
Interesting. Interoperability is the name of the game.
Hmm.
So, I heard you guys just launched something today, brand new. Can you tell me a little bit about DChat or decentralized chat?
Yeah, so we're really excited about this. So we launched a protocol called DChat, and it is a system for peer-to-peer chats where domain names are usernames. So the whole point here is that the system is user controlled. The chats are not stored on some company's servers. And a lot of people are excited about things like Signal. I use Signal, it's a great application. But those chats, even though they're encrypted, are stored on Signal servers. If Signal were to get hacked, if they were to shut down, if they were to ban you, all of that would be possible. You would lose all of your contacts, you would lose all of your chats. That would be it. If you have peer to peer chat, none of that stuff can happen. The user is in control. You have a shared inbox. So if you have 20 different applications all using the chat protocol, then you have the same inbox in every single app you go to. So no more one conversation in Facebook Messenger, one conversation in WhatsApp, another conversation in Telegram. It can all be united in a way that is encrypted, controlled by the user, secure, you're unbannable. It's a completely different power dynamic, and it's the way that we think that the internet should work. Like the stuff you should not have to rely on WhatsApp and WhatsApp servers for basic communication between people. It's not necessary. Peer to peer works great. That's how the internet was built in the first place.
Sure. Well, of course. Yeah. Thanks so much. I really do appreciate you coming on the show, Brad. Is there anything else you wanna let my audience know before you go?
I would just check it out. I've got brad.crypto. You can message directly to brad.crypto. So please send me a note. Would love to chat with you and let you try it out. It's pretty, it's you'll see it works very similar to the way that you would expect messaging apps to work right now. It's just that you're in control.
Amazing. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks a bunch.
So there you have it, guys. Brad Cam from Unstoppable Domains. If you still do not have an unstoppable domain and you want one now, you can find my affiliate link down here in the description, guys. Again, you don't have to use it. I just put them there for ease of use. But I want to know what you thought of the interview. It was my first interview. How did I come off? Did I do all right? Okay, now I'm just opening myself up to get blasted. Nevertheless, I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.